Ready for some serious historical whiplash? Today, we're diving into a place where empires and religions have clashed, prayed, and rebuilt for millennia, the Temple Mount in Jerusalem.
Talk about layers upon layers of history. Every stone seems to whisper stories spanning thousands of years.
It's incredible to think that such a seemingly small area could be considered the most contested and religiously significant spot on the planet. We're using the Temple Mount's Wikipedia article to guide our deep dive today.
Believe me, it's a deep dive. We're talking about a site that resonates with billions of people worldwide, not just for what it is, but also for what it symbolizes.
So let's rewind way back, before empires and organized religion. Imagine the 4th millennium BCE, basically the dawn of civilization. What was happening back then on this patch of land?
Well, even then, there were already signs of people living there, so who knows how far back it really goes.
Right.
And get this, the Temple Mount Sifting Project actually found an amulet from that period.
An amulet, like a good luck charm from ancient Egypt, right here in Jerusalem.
It gets even more interesting. This amulet, it had something called a cartouche on it, a kind of royal marking. And guess whose name it was? Thutmose III?
Thutmose III. Remind me, who was that again?
Only one of the most powerful pharaohs of ancient Egypt, ruling way back in the 15th century BCE. This tiny amulet suggests some kind of connection, some sort of relationship between Egypt and this site during the late Bronze Age. Were they trading partners, allies? Did they share religious practices? It's still a bit of a mystery. But it shows you just how woven the Temple Mount story is with the bigger picture of ancient civilizations.
It's amazing, these little glimpses into the past. Okay, so let's fast forward a few centuries to what we might call the blockbuster era of the Temple Mount, the time of Kings David and Solomon, the Israelite period.
Ah, yes. This is when we encounter the legendary First Temple, overflowing with gold and treasures. It was a symbol of God's presence on earth, at least according to biblical accounts. It's a cornerstone of Jewish faith, even today.
But, and this is where things get a little tricky, shouldn't we have found something, anything, to actually prove it existed? I mean, we're talking about a magnificent building, a crucial piece of history.
That's the challenge. Archaeological digs on a large scale are pretty much impossible due to how religiously and politically sensitive the Temple Mount is. Imagine the reaction if someone started digging for the first temple. It's a catch-22. So we rely on historical texts, interpretations of those texts, and whatever small-scale investigations have been possible around the edges of the site.
A mystery with missing pieces. But we do know the Babylonians eventually show up, destroy the city, and send the Israelites into exile.
A devastating period, no doubt. But the Temple Mount, it has a way of enduring.
Because even destruction couldn't keep this place down forever.
Exactly. Decades later, the Israelites returned and rebuilt their sacred space. The Second Temple rose from the ashes, symbolizing renewal and hope.
And unlike with the First Temple, we actually have physical evidence from this period.
We do. We have remnants, whispers of a time when the Temple Mount was abuzz with life. We're talking retaining walls, parts of gates like the Huldah gates, inscriptions like the one found at the trumpeting place. These tangible pieces from the past show us a glimpse of what life was like when this was the center of Jewish worship.
It's incredible. Ancient Egyptian connections, the mystery of the First Temple, the tangible remnants of the Second. All this history packed into one place is mind-blowing. But we're just getting started. What happens when the Roman Empire enters the picture?
Oh, things get really interesting then, the arrival of the Romans. That opens a whole new chapter, one that would irrevocably change the fate of the Temple Mount, setting the stage for the complexities we still see today.
Yeah, the Roman Empire, they really were a force of nature, weren't they? And their arrival, well, it just throws another wrench in the works of the Temple Mount story. So paint us a picture. 1st century CE. The Roman Empire's at its peak. Jerusalem's a major hub, full of life. The Second Temple right in the thick of it. What happens next?
You can practically feel the tension, the resentment. Roman rule wasn't exactly a welcome change, and even within Judaism itself, you had these groups really pushing to break free from this foreign control.
And that's where we get the Great Revolt, right? A turning point, not just for the Temple Mount, but for Jewish history in general.
It got it. The first Jewish revolt, officially, it kicks off in 66 CE and rages on for, get this, 4 years. The Romans, though, they weren't going to back down. Led by Titus, who'd soon become emperor, they lay siege to Jerusalem, and the climax, it's a tragedy, really. The Second Temple, destroyed, 70 CE.
Devastating. So what happens to the Temple Mount then? Did the Romans just leave it in ruins?
Not quite. They decided to rebuild Jerusalem, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
But with their own flair, make it their own. They built a whole new city on top of the ruins, called it Aelia Capitolina, after Emperor Hadrian Aelius was his family name, and their main god, Jupiter Capitolinus.
Hold on. So they literally paved over the Jewish temple to build a temple for their own god. Talk about a power move.
It was a statement, no doubt about it. They wanted to assert their dominance, to reshape the entire religious landscape. They even put a statue of Hadrian right there, just to really drive the point home.
Wow, adding insult to injury. But this isn't even close to the end of the story, is it? The Temple Mount always seems to bounce back.
You said it. After the Romans, in sweep the Byzantines. They took control, ruled Jerusalem as this Christian city. Then things take a turn. 7th century CE, the Sassanid Persians, rivals of those Byzantines, they conquered Jerusalem.
The Persians. Now that's a plot twist. What did they do?
This is where it gets good. They actually teamed up with the Jewish people, who, understandably, wanted their sacred land back. For a little while, and I mean it was brief, the Persians allowed the Jews to actually govern Jerusalem.
Wait, seriously, did they try to rebuild the temple during that time?
They did. They even brought back animal sacrifices, a really central practice in their faith. They saw a chance, this tiny window, to restore what had been lost. But it wasn't meant to be. The Byzantines, they took back Jerusalem, and that was the end of that.
Up and down, hope and despair. It makes you think, how must it have felt to live through all that, caught in the middle of these historical tug-of-wars?
It speaks volumes about faith, doesn't it?
Yeah.
And the connection people feel to this place, even after so much loss.
But this isn't where the story ends for the Temple Mount, is it? We haven't even gotten to the Islamic connection to this site.
You're right. Things take another sharp turn with the arrival of Islam in the 7th century. Another layer on this already incredibly layered site.
Okay, let's talk about that. What happened when Islam entered the picture?
Well, it's 637 CE when the Muslim armies, led by Caliph Umar, take Jerusalem from those Byzantines we talked about. But unlike the Romans, who kind of tried to erase the Jewish connection, Umar, he went a different direction.
Okay, so how does Umar approach this place, already so steeped in history and religious significance?
Islamic tradition says he found the Temple Mount in rough shape, kind of a mess, debris everywhere. So he and some of his followers, they cleaned it up. And instead of just tearing everything down, he decided, I'm going to build a mosque just south of that sacred rock, the foundation stone in Judaism.
Why south of the foundation stone, though? That central spot, it seems like the obvious place for a place of worship.
There are a few interpretations, but one idea is that Umar wanted Muslims praying in this new mosque to face both the foundation stone and Mecca, the holiest city in Islam, the direction Muslims face when they pray. And building to the south, it lined up perfectly.
It makes sense, honoring both the existing importance and the direction of prayer. So this mosque, this is what becomes the Al-Aqsa Mosque, right?
Exactly. To Muslims, it's not just the Temple Mount. It's Haram al-Sharif, the noble sanctuary. Hugely important religiously.
Tell me more about that Islamic perspective. What makes it so special?
Well, they believe this is where the Prophet Solomon, who Islam also reveres, built his temple. It's where prophets, including Jesus and even Muhammad, are believed to have prayed. And according to Islamic tradition, the foundation stone, that's where the Prophet Muhammad ascended into heaven on his night journey. Quite a story, right?
So you have all these beliefs converging, Judaism with their ancient temples, Christianity with Jesus, Islam with Solomon, Muhammad's night journey. It really is one of the most contested places on earth, isn't it?
That's exactly it. And the tensions, they only get more intense as we move through the medieval period.
Yep.
Conquest, the Crusades, different powers, all fighting for Jerusalem and its sacred sites.
From ancient empires to the birth of major world religions, this one spot has seen it all, wouldn't you say?
And the story doesn't end there. It continues to shape lives and events even today in the 21st century.
Speaking of the 20th century, a time of massive change, Israel is officially established in 1948. But it takes until 1967 for the Temple Mount to come under Israeli control, right?
The Six-Day War, 1967, that's when Israel takes control of East Jerusalem from Jordan, including the Old City and, of course, the Temple Mount. And this event, well, it just added a whole other layer of complexity to the story, you see.
Because now, here you have the holiest site in Judaism, and it's under the control of the newly formed Jewish state. You'd think celebration, closure after centuries.
Yeah, you'd think that, wouldn't you? But, well, it's never that simple, is it? For Muslims, the Temple Mount, or Haram al-Sharif, it's incredibly significant to them too, and that put Israel in a very, very delicate position, balancing their own history, their religious claims, with the need to keep things peaceful in a region that was already, pretty tense.
So how do you even begin to navigate something so sensitive?
Israel put something in place called the status quo arrangement.
The status quo.
Yeah, kind of understanding, some of it written down, some of it not, about how things would be on the Temple Mount.
Okay, so break it down. What does this status quo arrangement actually look like in practice?
So basically, Israel, they're the ones with overall control, the sovereignty. But the day-to-day running of the Temple Mount, that's given to the Islamic Waqf. Right. They're a Muslim religious trust. They control who comes and goes. They look after the mosques. They handle the religious practices there for Muslims, Jews. They're allowed to visit, but praying, not allowed.
Hold on, they can go there, but they can't pray. I mean, we're talking about a site that's fundamentally important to Judaism. That's a pretty big restriction.
Huge point of contention. Many Jews believe they should be able to pray at their holiest site. But for many people, Palestinians, Muslims around the world, allowing Jewish prayer on the Temple Mount, it's provocative. It challenges the status quo. They see it as potentially undermining Muslim control.
So you're walking a tightrope, basically. One wrong step.
And there have been incidents. Moments where the whole thing could have just blown up.
Like what? Give us an example.
Well, you had that incident back in 1990. A group of Jewish activists, they called themselves the Temple Mount Faithful, and they announced they were going to lay the cornerstone for a third temple right there on the mount.
Whoa, talk about turning up the heat. You're just asking for trouble.
It was a powder keg. Riots, clashes between Palestinians and Israeli security forces. People died. Things spiraled out of control. It showed everyone just how volatile the whole situation is. I mean, even a tiny change can spark something huge.
And it's not like the tension has magically gone away, has it?
Sadly not. In fact, things have gotten worse, you could argue, over the past few years. A rise in religious nationalism, inflammatory rhetoric, this deep distrust between the two sides. It's like any little thing change who can go where, a politician visits him, boom, protests, violence, the whole 9 yards.
It's incredible. It's just this hill, basically, in Jerusalem. But it carries so much weight, so much potential for conflict.
And it's not just about land or even politics, really. It's so deeply rooted in religious identity, in historical narratives. It's about belonging. For many Jews, the Temple Mount, it represents a longing for a time when they were in control in Jerusalem, when it was their central place of worship. For Muslims, it's their sacred space, their place to pray, a testament to their own connection to the city, going back centuries. Understanding those beliefs, those deep-seated feelings, that's the first step to even beginning to make sense of it all.
I'm not even sure where we go from here. After this deep dive, after uncovering all this, I don't even know if there is a simple answer, a prediction for the future of the Temple Mount.
You're hitting on a crucial point. There are those who believe in a two-state solution, something that includes a shared approach to the Temple Mount. Maybe even international administration, to try to keep things neutral. That could be a path to peace, maybe. But others, they'll tell you straight up, that's a pipe dream, not a chance. Not with all the religious and national claims tied up in this one place.
Yeah.
Honestly, if there's any hope at all, it starts with talking, with compromise, with trying to see things from the other side's perspective.
So we end not with answers, really, but with even more questions.
That's the biggest takeaway for everyone listening today. The Temple Mount isn't some dusty old ruin. It's not a political football to be tossed around. It's a place that billions of people hold sacred. And if we want to understand the complexities, to even try to untangle it all, we have to start with humility, with listening to the stories, the beliefs of everyone who calls this place holy.
It's been an incredible journey, millennia of history, religious significance, political minefields, and one thing is certain, this story, the story of the Temple Mount, it's far from over. It's unfolding as we speak right in front of us. It makes us confront really tough questions about faith, about identity, about what it even means to be human.
It truly is a place where the past and the present collide, where faith and history are woven into the very fabric of the place. Thanks for joining us on this deep dive.
It's been a privilege to delve into this topic with you today. Until next time.